Happy December, everybody. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to jump on here while I pull it up so I can see what you're seeing. This is our only live tutorial for the month of December. So the palette knife nativity tutorial has already been posted. It's pinned in the announcements in case you haven't seen it. So that's this one. There's also a template and color list already in the December units section. And don't worry, I'm not going to leave the video like this. We'll get you all straightened out. If I can still do it that way and see your comments. Oh. I'm waiting to see if that's gonna be good, or I might. Now the actual, this is large. So this is my original, is on a 16 by 20. But today I'm gonna do it on an 11 by 14. And we're probably gonna change it up just a little bit from the original. Just because, you know, now I have this awesome glitter paint that I didn't know about back then when I did this painting and some other fun stuff. So we'll probably change it up just a bit. So let me know when you guys are on here. Hop on. Tell me hi. Tell me you can see it okay. I'm going to go ahead and start getting some paint. Obviously, there's a lot of white in this painting. So I just taught this to a private corporate party. This is the smaller version of that one, just so you can kind of see the difference. And I actually used a couple different paint colors in this one. I actually used less paint colors in this one just to make it simpler for a big group. So really you can kind of do whatever you want to with that. Today I think I'm going to do, let me see what I have over here. For the big group party, I used this Anita's Navy Blue, which I also used in the Nativity one. I also love Craftsmart's Navy. And their dark blue, which I don't have up here, I don't think. Oh, I do have a little. Okay. So these are just some options for you. Oh, one more. See, this is the thing about paint. They basically all have the same name and they're all completely different colors. So I've got 3 different navy blues here, and each one of them has a little bit of a different color to it. So I believe in this original here, I used Apple Barrel Navy as my darkest blue, and then I know I used dark blue as my main blue, and then white. And I'm gonna play with it a little bit today. I'm gonna put some of both on there and see which one I like. Hello, Robbie and Helen and Nancy. Thank you for jumping on and saying hi. And I'm gonna put some of each of these on here so you can see the difference in them. Like I said, it does not matter. You just want some shades of blue. Like I said, also, what I did, this is a great one if you want to teach a paint class, or if you're looking for a really simple one to do with family over the holidays. This is a good one, and they can put it up after Christmas, so it's not just a Christmas one. Hey, Teresa. So when I did the one with my big group, all I did was I used Anita's navy blue, white, silver, and gold. 4 colors. Super simple. And that is, and I bet you can barely tell a difference between the two. So that was this one. So you really can't tell that big of a difference. That was just with one color of blue, white, silver, and gold. So can you see the difference in these colors? I like, this was the Anita's that I did first, and I like the purplish color that it has. So that's my preference. This is closer to the, I'm gonna put this on here just to show you. It's closer to that, but I like that it's just a little bit darker. So anyways, all about the blues. We are going to start with a large flat. And my allergies are absolutely terrible today, so I apologize if you hear me constantly coughing. It's quite annoying. Emma and I both are suffering right now. So I'm going to move you down a little bit just because I can. Get you a little bit closer. Still fit everything on there. Does that look good to you guys? It drives me crazy when it's slightly crooked. I'm trying to get it straight. Good morning, Deb. Okay, so we're gonna just jump in and get started. So I'm gonna do it like I did in my original, which is using white, Craft Smart dark blue, and then I am changing my navy to the Anita's navy. So we're gonna transition out. I'm gonna start with a bunch of white, load my brush up with that, and just a little bit of that dark blue, and decide wherever you want your moon to start radiating from. The important thing is to continue going in a circular motion all the way out to your sides. And you can use this technique for a background in any color on any painting. I've used this repeatedly on several paintings. So this is just a good base background for you to know how to use. And you can come in, like I've done a purple background with this, and then put like a pale yellow moon on it. You just let them dry in between layers. But here's the trick. Watch what my arm is doing. It's not doing this. That's just my wrist moving. And I'm going to show you what happens when you do that. You get like an egg shape, right? So I'm moving my entire arm the whole time. I'm just going to smooth this out. Now what I want you to keep in mind, and when you are painting this on your own, what I want you to remember, this is your first coat. You are going to be going back and re-accenting this. So if it gets too ovally looking, don't stress about it right now. Keep moving. We're going to come back and add more white to the center of that. As I start going out, if you watched way back when, maybe before you joined my membership, it was in some videos that I sent out teaching how to do this background. The trick to make it not look like a bullseye is to keep blending. If you have a hard time blending, this is going to be a really good painting for you and really good exercise. So you don't want it to look like you just come on and just leave it just like that, because then you see a really definite line there. So you just keep blending. And as I go out further, again, I'm just going to smooth all this in. This is going to come back with another background. But see how I'm just smoothing all that out? And then you can't tell where one color stops and the other one starts. And I was moving my arm in big circular motions the whole time I'm doing that. So, as you're coming out, you're going to start picking up, I still have the white in my brush, I haven't rinsed anything, but you're going to start picking up darker color. Now, if you're worried about going straight to your canvas, if this is the first time you've done a background like this, use your mixed media pad and do 2 to 3 pages of just practicing it. Do it in different colors. You may find you really like something different that you can use in another painting. So I'm getting darker as I go out. This is still just dark blue. I haven't touched my navy yet. And you're really getting plenty of paint on your brush. And this is first coat, so I don't want you to worry about any streaking. Well, I got that really stuck on there from my palette knife painting. I don't want you to worry about any streaking because it's not going to matter. Don't waste your time going back and trying to fill this in and fill in the white marks that are showing through. That's going to do you no good. You're just going to spread your paint around. When this dries and you come in for your second coat, then it's going to fill it in and you're not going to see those streaks anymore. Okay, so that's just white and dark blue transitioned out. Now I'm going to pick up my navy. I'm going to show you the same thing. See how dark this is? I don't want to leave it like that because that just doesn't look good. Right? You just see this line right here, and I don't want to see that line. Hold on, Debbie's saying she can't hear me. Okay, Debbie, sounds like the volume's just fine, so get back out. Well, you can't hear me. If you can't hear me, I can't tell you. I was going to say get back out of the video and get back in, but my words don't mean anything. So if someone else can type that out for her, that'd be great. Okay, so navy blue, minus these clumps. And I'm not worried about going all the way down to the bottom. I know my snow's going to go down there, but we're going to pull a little bit of blue into our snow. All right, everyone's still good here? But I don't want this line, right? So I'm just dragging my brush. Did you see what I did just then? Drag it right where those two colors met. That simple. And look how it, I put this on Do Not Disturb. And it's still interrupting the video. I'm getting phone calls, which is super annoying. Even more annoying is that that's my business phone, which nobody should have the phone number to because I don't actually use it as a business phone. And I shouldn't even be getting calls from that, which means it's a spam call that somehow found my number as a business number somewhere. Okay, Debbie's good. Okay, we're good. All right, leave me in the comments. Tell me if you understand how I explained the background and if that makes sense to you. Because I really want you to get this background because it is so useful for you to have in other paintings. It's all about blending. All right, I'm gonna wait for you guys to comment. I am gonna rinse. I was gonna wipe, but I'm just kidding. I'm gonna rinse because I don't want that dark blue to come back in my second coat. And I'm gonna do a quick blow dry. If you're doing this in a class or on your own, this would be where you go grab another cup of coffee, wine, whatever time of day you're painting, and let this dry completely. Let it dry completely before you go back for a second coat. If you're teaching it as a class, stop your class. Don't let them touch it. Don't let them try to go back and fix anything while this is all wet. Let it dry. All right, I'm gonna scooch up just a tiny bit. Okay, so I've got it mostly dry. This is a little wet down here, but by the time I get to it, it's gonna be dry. So I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna go back up to the top now. I am gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of silver. Thank you, Kim. This is Dazzling Metallic Shimmering Silver. In the past, before I used Deco Art for almost everything, I just grabbed silver from Craftsmart. Let me shake this up a little. Now, this is optional whether you want to add any silver into your background or not. I did in the original. I'm going to show you again really quick. See these little hints of silver here and there? Now, we're not doing these skinny lines right now. We're just doing the second coat of our entire background. You know what I need for Christmas is to have someone come and gut my office and clean it and organize it for me. That would be my 16-year-old daughter if I could get her to do it. But just walking in here gives her anxiety, so I don't know if she can. I'm knocking stuff over as I'm teaching you guys. All right, so I'm going to start with white again. And I'm going to start super small because I don't want this, especially on this canvas, I don't want this to be super big moon. So that looks pretty rough right now, right? So I'm going to grab a little of the dark blue. A little bit more. You want to have enough in your brush. So if I don't have enough in there, it's not going to blend. Now this, what it's doing right here, I actually love that look. It almost ends up like a dry brush where it kind of leaves that faded, almost like halo effect. Now you can get that look after you have enough in there to blend. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. I'm going back and forth between my dark blue and my white until I get it the way that I want. So see, I have plenty of paint in there now. Smooth that in the middle. Then I get larger as I go out. You could also, I don't usually recommend dampening your brush very much because I don't want you to water down your paint, but for something like this, you can thin it down a little bit. So see how that's starting to transition? This is where you're getting your circle the way you want. Now here's what I like, is that halo effect that it comes on the way out. Can you guys see that okay, hopefully? So you can leave it like that. This is also where you could grab a little bit of the silver and the dark blue. Now I'm not going back. I'm done with this. So I'm just kind of going up and meeting where that transition is. Maybe a little white and silver. I just play with it. There's not an exact science to it. You kind of just start adding the paint and deciding what you like. If that's too much silver, then you jump back. Get plenty of blue on there. Now I'm not like loading it up because it already has one coat. But I'm getting enough on there that it's spread on all of my bristles. And then see how I just keep going back. Lots of blending until you get it the way that you want. So you're going to spend more time on this layer than you are on your first. Now it's getting a little easier. The lighter to darker section, I think, is the hardest transition, and then the dark to dark is not that hard. And even now, look, I've got a tiny bit of white in there, so if I push down and grab that white that's all the way up here in my bristles, it gives me that like halo look. So you can decide how much you like that. Now I'm gonna grab dark blue and some navy. I've got them both on there at the same time. Pick up more navy. Just enough that it's gonna blend easily for you. But I love these backgrounds. They're so fun. Accidentally picked up a little bit of white behind my navy there. But guess what? I'm gonna leave it. Who's to say that sky can't look that way? You see how I'm moving with this huge, big movement the whole time? No, I've never wavered from that. So you get that same big circular shape all the way down. Okay, now I'm just gonna fan this out at the bottom. And then I'm gonna wipe that off. And we're gonna add our snow. Hold on, I see something when I'm looking up here. This looks ovalish to me. I have to fix it. I'm grabbing just a little bit of white. Just kind of halo that out a little bit more. So this is something, so you can kind of see here from what I'm doing. It is forgiving in the fact that you can go back and edit as long as you do it before you add your trees on. So you just want to be happy with your background before that. And you guys may have totally thought that was fine. I was just noticing a little bit of a more oval shape that I wasn't crazy about. So what I did with that last little bit was I took that leftover white and just kind of drug it through my background. Linda, I have done it both ways. So I think that really comes down to preference. Because in class, I teach everything on easel. I paint on easel, I teach on easel. So I don't paint flat when I'm teaching it. This is still bugging me. Now see, you guys are getting to see a little bit of my type A coming out right here. It's this angle right there. But you know what? Sometimes there's just things that bug you. There we go. I think it's better. I'm gonna say it's better. Okay, I'm gonna load up my white. Now this is still wet, and I actually want it to be, because this hill back here, and we're just gonna start like this. I'm on 11 by 14. It will be taller if you are on a 16 by 20. I have come up probably about 2 inches on the side. My first hill is only going to be about 2 inches high, and it's going to have a very slight slope down. Very slight. I don't want a big rainbow. Now, I actually want it a little darker than that. So I'm going to come and grab some of my dark blue, not my navy, but my dark. Because we want this hill that we're doing right now, a little bit more, to be darker than the one in front of it. So it's not actually white. It's a shade of blue. I'm going to blow dry that just a little bit because I want that bottom side a little bit darker. And if I just keep adding blue paint to this, it's not going to help me. It's just going to keep blending. But I have to have it dry if I want to add a darker layer to it. Okay, so I'm going to pick my dark blue up. There, that's more of the color I want. And again, this can be streaky. It doesn't need to be a solid color there. We will come back and add white up here. I might be able to, let's just see here. I'm just getting a little bit of white on my flat. And I'm just lightly dragging on that top edge. Slightly blended, not a ton, but I'm happy with how that looks. I want it like that because this is where the moon is hitting the top of that hill, and then it's darker underneath. Okay, now we're gonna load up a bunch of white. I did not rinse. There might still be a little bit of blue in my brush, but I'm not worried about it. Now, this hill is not actually going to come up much higher than this one at all. It may appear so just because of the angle that we take it down into this, but it's actually not going to come up much higher. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it. We'll just say about right here. Again, not a huge curve. And I'm going to drag this over top all the way down to that edge. So we did all this background, but we're covering that part of the hill up, okay? Now I leave, like when I did that, it naturally pushed my white to the edge like that. I'm going to leave it like that because it just gave me a highlight without me having to go back and do it. Now we're gonna fill in with white underneath that. Now this part right here is not gonna matter because the trees are gonna be over top of it, but it will matter right there. I'm grabbing a little bit of water just because my white seems really, really thick right now. I'm not sure why. All right. So see what that's done is it's pushed this hill back behind and made this one come in front. Now I'm gonna let all this dry. We'll be able to come back and add more white to this later, but we don't wanna mess with it right now because it's wet, okay? This I'm not gonna touch again. I'm just gonna leave that. Now we get to start on the trees. Scoot this back down just a little bit. Okay, so I have 2 trees. Leaving the white in here, I'm just gonna grab some white and honestly, whatever blue you have left on your palette. No need to like grab another color if you were out of a certain one. You may only be using one color, so then it really doesn't matter. So I'm just making like a mid-tone, mid to light shade of blue here. About like that. Doesn't matter if it's all the same. This is going to be the background of our tree. All right, so my first tree, I don't want it any higher than about right here. So just eyeball that, pull myself a line down. And my next one is just slightly higher and over a couple inches. It's going to go off the canvas. Now these are just guides. They don't mean anything to you. You're not going to see them at the end. All right, so I'm going to start on my left one because I'm right-handed. We're going to start, make sure I have some paint on there. We're going to start, same flat brush. We're going to use the flat brush for everything for this. And I'm going to start dabbing. I almost want to move you a little bit closer. Let's see. We'll see what you can see. Still vertical, turning just slightly. Can you guys see that? Now I know these may not be typical trees. I have them angled up instead of down. That's the way I designed them. And people seem to like it, so I'm not too worried about it. I had one rude woman at one of my paint nights in the middle of class say, well, trees don't even look like that, so I'm not painting mine that way. And I said, you paint your tree however you want. So whatever your heart desires, that's how you can paint it. This is how I decided to do mine. So I'm just gonna think of it just like going around radial. You're just gonna start angling down a little bit. And I just keep staggering. They're gonna overlap. I do want you to pay attention to that. Don't try to do this. Also, don't be this slow. Someone was asking me how I get my loose style by not doing this. Go a little crazy with it. Think of it like stenciling. And then as I get further down, I keep loading my brush up. If it gets separated, like if your bristles start separating, just gather your paint up on the side again and get it to where it's a skinny line. This is a really pretty color of blue, almost like a periwinkle. So you can tell as I'm getting further down, my angle's changing a little bit, right? So I'm angling, 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 and then it becomes basically horizontal. You can change how you're holding the brush to get different brush strokes. So if you hold down, angle it a little bit more, it gets a little flatter and skinnier. And I'm just gonna cover up. I'm gonna pick up some more of my navy as I get down to the bottom, because we're gonna have shadows down here anyways. So that's how it's gonna meet my snow. Make sure that it overlaps your hill. What do you guys think so far? Shoot me up some feedback, some hearts or thumbs or comments. Everyone's so quiet today. This is our only live one for this month. You gotta hang out and talk with me a little. All right, so we're gonna repeat the process over here. Don't worry about how these overlap right now. You'll get a little bit more separation when we add the white on. You can see slightly some definition there. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with blue winter trees right now. This was one of those paintings I did a few years ago, and I had so much fun doing it. And then it was one of those ones I was like scared to like post online and thought, what if people don't like it, blah, blah, blah. And then it ended up being one of my most popular ones. So again, I'm no different than you. We are all our worst critics. And that's why I want you guys to really share your work in the group. And as you get more confident on your Facebook page, personal or business, because you never know what you may criticize yourself for and think is not so special. Someone else may love it. And it's more about, this is something God's trying to teach me right now. It's more about his journey through me than what I think. So maybe just because it's not my favorite thing doesn't matter, because it may be a favorite thing to somebody else. So I'm coming under a little bit of navy underneath. We'll end up blending that just a little bit, but I'm just staggering. This is going to be our shadow. Same brush strokes. Just kind of staggering underneath that tree a little bit. As I come out further, it's going to lighten up. And it doesn't have to come all the way down. I want a little darker. The reason I want it really dark underneath is because that's really what makes it stand out. That shadow gives a lot of pop to the painting. Got a little bit of my white in there again. Let me get all dark. Especially when we come back and add the contrast of the white. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse. And we're gonna go in with our white now. And silver. And actually need some more white. So it's okay if it, like on my palette, there's a little bit of blue behind that. I'm not too worried about that. So you can decide again, how I always tell you to do your winter trees, decide how much snow you want. I'm gonna start a little lighter and then come back in and add more if I think I need to. Come back and touch them up kind of where they meet in the middle, so it's not too, I'm gonna grab just a tiny bit of blue in this, make it like a super, super light blue. I almost feel like my white is a little too stark. But see, I'm just kind of mushing down a little bit where they meet in the middle, so you don't necessarily see that exact line. I'm not covering everything. You can even still see a little bit of that dark showing through in some areas. And then at the bottom here, I don't want to cover that navy too much. So we'll leave it about like that. I'm going to grab a little bit of silver. I still have my white in there. And we're going to work a little bit of silver in. And this is definitely more of an accent. I'm gonna do it a little heavier on the right side just to give it a little bit more shimmer. But you can have a tiny bit kind of go over here. Okay. Now repeating the process over here. And you're tapering in, so it's closer together up here. Think of it like a triangle shape, and then as you get further down, you can even take these white lines further out than you had your others if you wanted. Overlap this just a little bit. Maybe make it a little brighter white than the one behind it. Just overlapping those lines continually. And then we'll go in with the silver. Just keep moving. Keep that loose style so you don't become too hyper focused on it. Now, if I wanted to come back and maybe decide if I want some more white highlights anywhere, something a little brighter, you could do that. Just here and there to break it up. So none of this is blending. So the first part of our painting was all blending, the second part is not. Oops, there goes my palette knife. Now I did want to, this is something new. I'm just doing this to mine. Thank you guys. I love this periwinkle blue. I used this in the Christmas truck with the wreath, which by the way is done, and we have had really bad problems trying to get it uploaded to YouTube. I don't know what the issue is, but YouTube doesn't want to take it. So it's done and ready. I'm just trying to get it up for you today. I'm gonna grab a little bit of this periwinkle and just throw a little bit in on this left side of the trees. Totally optional, not part of my original, but I love the color of it, and it creates just a little bit of shadow on the left side of the tree. And if you get too heavy-handed with it, just let it dry and come back with more white. But I like the little bit it's just like a really pretty tone with these other blues. What do you guys think of that added in there? Yay or nay? Got a loose bristle here. So now it's just me being nitpicky and picking where I want to add a little bit more white. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I want a little bit more down here. All right, let's look down at our snow here. What do we want to do with this? Add some more white. It's still got a little bit of that periwinkle in there, and I'm going to leave that. Again, we get this nice contrast because our back hill, oh yeah, I like that periwinkle in there. That back hill is going to stay dark, and it pulls this one forward. And see how those shadows, see how that really gives it depth? Now we just want to stagger out how those shadows meet the rest here. I'm just kind of blending this, and I am going to pull some of those brush strokes back over. I'm going to use some of that periwinkle and a little navy here. And up close, this may look really splotchy to you and like not blended, and you're gonna think, oh, I don't know if that looks good. So I'm giving you that little close-up so you can see. It may look like that up close, but when you have it hanging on a wall, it looks super pretty. So just adding in a little bit more. A little bit more navy there. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. The main thing I want you guys to realize is really what it looks like up close. I'm gonna hold this up so you can really see. I don't know if I can hold it back that far. Yeah, we're gonna flip it upside down. But I want you to see what it looks like up close. And then when you're seeing it from further away. That's a really important thing to pay attention to when you're painting. Because sometimes we're so close to our painting, that's all we can focus on, and we don't think about what it's going to look like when it's hanging on the wall. So, in addition, you could come back and add some twinkles on here. I'm going to let it dry a little bit before I do that. If you want to come back and add the lines the way I did in the moon in the original, let me find a good round here. It's time for me to boil my brush tips again because I've left them in my water too long. I'm going to get a little bit of white, a dab of silver, and I'm going to start super small inside here. Little parentheses, getting bigger as I go out. And you may like the style the way you have it without this. They can be faded as they go out. They don't have to be super strong brush strokes all the way. Maybe a little silver. I got a little more white there than I wanted. I'm just going to smooth that back out. Now, I did not pull them down this far in my original. I'm just kind of playing with this a little bit. You guys are just watching me have a little fun. This is around, I would say like a 2 or a 3. And then I'm going to flip it around. I'm using the back end of it, adding the snow in. And you could use a couple different techniques for this. You could use the splatter technique that we've done in some of the paintings. You could use the front end of your brush. Again, notice how quickly I'm moving. I'm not thinking about it. Wherever my hand lands, that's where the snow is going. That's how you don't end up having a pattern. And they're different sizes too. Can add as little or as much as you want. And then I did some gold little dots. And some people think of them as ornaments, whatever you want them to be. They're honestly just a pretty accent mark I did in the painting. They don't have to have a meaning. Not everything in your paintings has to have a meaning, by the way. Sometimes you just do it because it's pretty. So just your metallic gold, whichever one you have. Just a dot of it. I'm going to grab another... Just grabbing a different round, just so I didn't have to rinse that off. And just, I have these kind of more around the tree, just kind of magical. Maybe make up some of, I don't like this brush. It's not doing what I want it to do. I'm gonna get a little bit bigger one. That help? Maybe some just kind of floating up above it. I want a little bit more. Well, now I just squeezed out a whole bunch. I didn't mean to do that. I have some a little bit bigger. What do you guys think? We're about done. Now you can be done. This would be the last thing I did in my original. But if you wanted to, you guys have been shown some different techniques you could do. You could add snow text to it. You could add some of the craft twinkles, which is what I'm going to do. And you guys are going to get to see me do this live, but I did this in the, I actually did it in both paintings I did with you guys in December. It's really fun and freeing to just put paint right on a canvas. But this is how I did those trees behind that truck. I just did these little blobs of paint because this dries clear. I'm only doing it on one side of the tree. This dries clear, so I did little blobs. And then very lightly, doesn't matter what brush you're using, I just grabbed a flat. I'm just gonna kind of scoot it around. And it's not on all branches. It's just little pops of glitter in some different areas. Now, obviously, you don't have to do it that way at all. You could put it on your palette. And then just add it where you want. I just really liked the thickness of it and the big shiny parts of glitter. Maybe grab a little, just a touch there, maybe a little here. I'm just kind of obsessed with this craft glitter. And if you wanted to, again, I'm just kind of grabbing some from the extra I have. Very light, just a little sparkles. Craft Twinkles Brush On Glitter Paint by Deco Art. This is crystal. All right. That's it, my friends. We are done. Everyone have a very Merry Christmas. And we'll be back in January. Again, all the tutorials are going to be up this week. Your bonus videos were posted last week. I'm trying to get this straight. So you had some glass art tutorials from my friend Cindy at Art Shattered, which I literally ordered like $30 worth of glass, and I can't wait to try it because I've been putting it off for months because I'm scared of it. And I really don't think it's that scary. I think it's all in my head. So anyways, that's my, I'm going to do some art for me now that I'm done teaching you guys for this month and have some fun with my girls. So anyways, that is up. The bonus little, I just put paint on my Santa. These little ornaments that I did. You can order these blanks from Tamra, by the way, at Southern Adornments. I just say Tamra like everyone knows her. So anyways, this is the other bonus you guys got. You could turn any of these into full-on paintings if you wanted to. So all in the December units tab. That's all there. The Christmas nativity is there. And then later today, once YouTube cooperates with me, you'll have the Christmas truck with the wreath. And I think you guys will really have fun with that one too. The trees in that one are a lot of fun and different than this. So that's it. I love you guys. Have a great Christmas. Enjoy your time with your family. Take some time for yourself to paint. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of December. And I'll be popping in probably right before the new year. I've got some ideas for January, but throwing some out there for opinions as well. So make sure you're getting notifications in the Facebook group so you know about things when I'm posting them. You can just go up to set your notifications to see first, and you'll get those sent to you. So that's it. Merry Christmas. Bye.